sorry, did you say that we already knew that they were only gonna operate one weekend and then kind of store everything and operate the following weekend, right? They're not
I
necessarily.
don't know.
They're gonna keep it
They
open
don't-
for alternate.
They are going to go for alternate days, okay.
So you can see what's, how it's expanding and growing. I mean, we're going from Thursday through Sunday carnivals to 10-day carnivals now.
Right.
Okay, the next item is,
Chief, you're awfully quiet.
the 1917 contract approval. I know there were some concerns on this from a number of council members. Did you want to wait and do a closed door, or do you want to discuss it now?
Where's the kind of agreement, right?
Well, yeah, what I would suggest is if you have, basic questions about maybe the TA that's here, that we can do. But if you want to discuss further than that and actually talk about
Yeah.
negotiations, that would have to be closed door, because we don't have an agreement per se with this group yet, so we wouldn't be able to do that in an open setting. But if you have, procedural questions, cost questions, I mean, those we can cover now.
Yeah, can we skip this and go wait to the end? Pleasure of the council.
And you need to vote.
Yeah.
Okay, number 11, this is one of Mr. Murphy's items to amend some winter taxes for water group bills. Any questions from Mr. Murphy?
I had a question from one of my neighbors about getting their water bills, and they said that our water bills are being distributed by somebody else, or are we still doing our own water bills?
Our water bills are prepared by the water department, and then they go to a third-party printer, and we've been doing that for quite some time.
Yeah, long time.
Oh, how long ago? I mean, like years?
Supersede my first
years.
city in the city, so it had to be before 2009.
4 or 5 years.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, thank you.
This is, the next one is the windows that we postponed last time because we had a couple of questions because you had, I think Don was, we definitely went with the lowest bidder, but there was some question as to how well of a job they did. We heard that there was,
I talked to Jeff today about it, but if you want to go over it again.
Basically, what we've uncovered is some of these low bidders are doing pretty shoddy work on these homes. We had a lot of complaints from homeowners, and one of our building officials and I took a trip over to one of the projects, and it was embarrassing to even have our names associated with this company. So this is actually a company we gave after denying the other company. So there are a couple problematic contractors that we're dealing with. So I spoke with some of my predecessor in community development, John Carter, about what their old process was, and it predates Mitten. So what we kind of identified is that Mitten opens up these small jobs to anybody and everybody. And basically what you get is somebody who's insured, put post bond, performance bond, and basically sends in a B unit into these homes, and the workmanship is terrible. So one of the, kind of discussing with him and Joan Hennessy and some process improvements is maybe going back to a preferred vendors list like we did in the past prior to Mitten, and then having vendors or contractors apply to be placed on that list, as well as doing a questionnaire for homeowners where they will rate the vendors, contractors upon completion of the job, and if they don't score well, then they would be disqualified from future bidding. So it's a work in progress. One of the things that we used to have when the department was bigger was an inspector who actually was dedicated to going to these jobs. Well, the department is much smaller now, so there's less oversight and more opportunity for this type of stuff.
so you're comfortable with this going with the
Um,
tab? Decal?
Well, also this same company made a complaint to HUD about our processes. So I had to provide a written response to HUD about our procurement policies. And basically, as long as we're including minority-owned businesses, women-owned businesses on our preferred vendors list, we are in compliance with HUD's guidelines. So to me, at this point, this would be the best way to go as far as making sure that, you know, we're affiliated with good contractors who are going to these homeowners' homes. I mean, it was appalling. It was an 85-year-old gentleman. He had a wooden kitchen chair taken out of his home, thrown out in the snow for 3 days. Not cleaning up after themselves, no drop cloths being used.
And this is that company that
Yes.
is discussing.
And this is an 85-year-old man who was breathing in all this dust. So basically, we've been checking in daily with this contractor to make sure this job is completed. I mean, we always require, we don't pay them until it passes city inspection, but the whole process is not a good experience right now for some of these homeowners, so we're looking to fix that.
So if this were to be rejected tomorrow, so would you have to start the bid process all over again for this particular job?
No, we
Or
could
you
go
to
with
the next lowest bidder?
second, but bear in mind, the last time we rejected, the second bidder is now the new problem contractor, so. So I think, you know, what basically with them complaining to HUD, when I spoke to a building official and HUD was to maybe get, since this is just a window, give them some oversight on this job, keep a careful eye on them, and then going forward, change our bid process.
So with going to a preferred vendors list, will we still post our bid on these though, however?
Not for home rehabilitation. And the problem is, a lot of these are smaller bids anyway, so a lot of local businesses will still,
How
Bid
would
up.
we post? Will we post with
We
the,
would-
in the paper or?
our purchasing department would send it out to each, would have a master preferred
Each
vendor list,
preferred
yes,
vendor?
it would be emailed out.
But it would limit then.
Well, I think people could apply to be on that.
Right, we would
And then
start a
you know,
formal
And then they
application
would all have
process.
to bid.
We would require references.
We'd be our own mitten, basically.
What was the complaint to HUD? I mean, that we're holding them accountable for the shoddy work? I mean, what do we care?
Basically, that they were low bidder and we rejected them, that we held their bid bonds to.
That's not a valid complaint. HUD probably told them to go pound saw, right?
Well,
Absolutely not. HUD requires us to now disclose our procurement policies, kind of give them a narrative of what happened, how we
Well, I
responded.
know, but we documented that it's shoddy work, which would go against what
Which-
the HUD program is to benefit this homeowner, so.
Each homeowner has provided me with a, written complaint that I've forwarded to HUD.
There's as these go out into mitten and you start getting a lot of new vendors that you really don't have any kind of working experience with, there's a whole new level of problems that come with that. And when we came into office, one of the things that we found were, I don't know the names, but some of these companies were subcontracting everything out. So they would become general contractor, and then they weren't paying their subs. So their subs were lining up in my office saying, hey, I did this work for the city of Taylor. And we said, no, you didn't. You did it for a general contractor. And you know, your issues with him, not with us. Unfortunately, we had paid some of these people, and then they were renegotiating their subcontractors' rates. So let's say for the sake of discussion, it was $1,000 to do some trim. They would say, well, we'll give you $500 or we'll give you nothing. And that was going on, and they were coming into our office
And we were paying
and
$1,000
yeah.
for that.
right, and we paid. So, you know, you'll never hear me argue low bid. I mean, you know, this is a prime example of you get what you pay for, and you know, this is an opportunity again to make more improvements. So.
And I think, you know, we definitely have to speed up the process, because if residents are coming to us, looking for us to help them, and this is the kind of stuff they're getting, that's just ridiculous.
Yeah, I mean, like I told Jeff on the phone, this is something that we provide to our residents.
Right.
Supposed to help them, and then
Yeah.
not give more anxiety over it, so.
Have we had to enforce any of the bonds or take action to make up for their shoddy work?
Not yet, because we don't pay them until the work's completed satisfactory, but a lot of them are drawn out. Homeowners are, this homeowner is without water for days. We've had an elderly lady without use of her bathroom when she only had a wooden bathroom. So, not the most professional contractors that we want to be associated with.
Now, this guy that is up for approval here, he received complaints the last time. Did he address those complaints? Did he fix them? Have we
Yes.
paid him? Okay, so
Yes, we don't pay
he's
until
square,
yeah.
basically.
I go to the customer service center,
Mhm.
ask if inspection has been completed, if it's passed, and at that time we pay them.
you know if that resident is happy with what, you know,
The end
after-
product, yeah, but getting to the end product was
Okay,
quite a.
right, exactly, but
quite a-
it finally got there.
Yeah.
Okay,
And we're likely gonna have to hold his hand and babysit
Yeah.
him on this project.
well, that's, yeah.
This is just a
I wanted to make
window
sure we were
replacement as
square
well,
Before I
so-
even approve this.
So,
So basically, you know, you're comfortable with the fact that the minimal
What the-
of what, you know, the job's a pretty minimal job, it's not anything too.
they're doing the bare minimum too.
Yeah.
Number